Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is the first video in this series of um, however many episodes there will be. I will be modeling a female character, UV unwrapping, texturing, rigging, animating, the whole shebang. So stick around if you want to see the final product, but for this video, this was what it's going to look like, hopefully. And let's begin. I will pretty much comment over the video that I've recorded and time-lapsed. So here's the video. So obviously delete the cube, add in the images. I picked Angelina Jolie because she's really pretty and she's got like a beautiful jawline. So I thought, why not use that for the base? So we begin with a plane. We put in the mirror modifier to save ourselves a lot of work. Make sure that your clipping is on so that when you drag it towards the actual axis, it will stick together. So we first begin by trying to trace out kind of the eyebrow, and right now I've already created in the front view and I'm trying to pull the points back to the side view. In retrospect, I really should have done this bit by bit rather than creating the whole thing and then pulling it point by point, which is quite tedious. Because they initially all lie in the same plane if you view it from the side. So there's a lot of issues looking back at my recording actually, but hopefully you guys won't make the same mistake when you try this. So we're extruding it down to the nose, so I tried to kind of make like a shape that goes in and then out, to make it more nosy and realistic. If you can see that I'm also first just creating it in the front view and then pulling it out to make the shape of the nose from the side. But in retrospect, again, I should have done it from the side because then you just have to extrude it downward and you can already get the shape immediately. So that would have made it faster. But in either case, you try a bit and then you figure out things and you never do them again. So just, this whole video is going to be a lot of point pulling, so I'm going to try to edit most of that out so you don't have to suffer with me watching this back. Alright, I'm extruding to the side of the nose, and then you can Control R to insert some edge loops. Control R is such a beautiful, it's such like the best. I think one of my favorite tools. Just because whenever you need a loop, you just add it. You should never be afraid to extrude or just do something because you can always just add more loops to make it nicer. I spent quite a lot of time on the nose. I just really like modeling noses. It's a bit weird, but I don't know, I think they kind of really define the face. White pulling. I'm really a bit of a perfectionist at this point because I really don't really need to make it so, accurate at this point. Because later on when we add in the subdivision modifier, things will be a lot smoother anyway, so that I can pull it at that point. So now that I've added in the subdivision modifier, I've extruded the nostrils up so you can get like a nice hole shape. When in doubt, extrude, because when you extrude you can create soft and hard edges. So one thing I realized after a long time, you see me struggle with this later, is that the front picture, like the front photo, she has her mouth slightly open, so on the side the face doesn't actually match up or align. So you see me struggling to kind of fix the eyes and the nose first. Like right now I'm trying to get to the eye, and then later on when I start doing the jawline, I have to shift the photo up to kind of around where I think the jawline should be. So if you were to do modeling for the first time and just kind of getting used to the basics, extremely important you pick a photo that aligns itself, front view and profile view. Alright, so now I'm working on the eyes. So what I'm going to do is just create vertices. You can do that with, I think, Control and then right click. and then just extrude it around the eye. And then the whole thing we can extrude out, do some point pulling. Again, I really should have done this from the side view and then pulled it properly when I was in the front view. So for future cases, hopefully I will show that instead. But for now, I'm trying to make the eyes kind of just curve around what it naturally should look like, and then extrude it out to kind of fit in with the rest of the eyebrow and the nose parts. Yeah, you can see me just, you can almost feel me being annoyed at myself for doing this um, this way, because now there's just a lot of pulling to do. I really should have started from the side view. But in either case, that's the eye. You can see that I made the eye a little bit bigger. I didn't really follow her eye shape. This is because um, uh, this picture is mainly for the base photo. I really wanted a more cartoonish look, so I kind of made the eye a little bit bigger by default, because we're not really exactly trying to construct Angelina Jolie, although hopefully this will look like her. So you can see I'm trying to match the vertices where the eye is to the eyebrow so that I can alt merge. So it's alt and then M. Then you can merge either center, last, or first, whichever one you pick. If you get them close enough, it doesn't really matter. Another really good tool is that if you create a lot of vertices and sometimes they overlap, what you can do is select all of them by pressing A and then go to vertex, and you can just click merge vertices by distance, and then you can actually set the distance on the bottom left hand corner. And by setting the distance, it means vertices that are really close to each other, it will just merge together. Oh, here's an issue I actually wanted to, I'm really glad I ran into it. So you saw that there was a weird little um, really sharp edge around the eye when I merged the two objects together and made it smooth. So what happened there was that when you merge two meshes together, their normals might point in opposite directions. The normal is just the perpendicular to whatever surface you have. And if they point in opposite directions, you can get really weird crossings and sharp edges. And to fix that, you just select everything, you go into mesh, and then you can recalculate the normals outside and in, and that's what fixed the issue. I spent quite a lot of time on just point pulling the nose, which I can probably skip. So what I did here was that I realized that you can see the front of the face, her forehead is really flat and her eyes are really flat, which I guess I'm Asian, so it looks, I'm like that, but for her, she needs kind of a curve to the inner eye sockets. So for that, I kind of just brought all of that on top outwards and then again point pulling. If you have, again, better reference images, this will be a lot easier.
One eternity later.
Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. Okay, finally we're extruding. So extruding around kind of under the eyes to where the above mouth is, so that above the mouth is, so that we can work on the mouth and then we can work on the side of the cheek separately, and then we can join everything together. This is kind of the methodology I see a lot of people on YouTube when they create time lapses. This is what they do. So I'm kind of just pulling ideas together. Another really important tip, I think, is that for this kind of modeling, it's really important that I really should have stuck to, so if you look at the subdivision modifier, I really should have turned it off so that I can look at the base mesh, so that it's more jaggedy. Because if you look at the base mesh and you get a nice smooth base mesh, when you turn on the subdivision modifier, it'll be very smooth. But if you just work on the subdivision modifier like I am right now, I'm just looking at smooth surfaces and trying to, extrude and pull smooth surfaces. If the points look good here, you could, later on you'll probably see, you can turn off subdivision modifier and you can see the points are super jagged and not nice at all. And that's why when the subdivision surface is turned on, you can sometimes get really weird edges that you can't fix even though the vertices are next to each other. They're still not smooth, and that's because you can see the base mesh is very jagged. And I really should have stuck more to the base mesh when I did extrusions and point pulling. So this is again to be improved for future videos. Oh, here we go. We're almost to the mouth. Oof, I had so much issues with the mouth, guys. Like, her mouth is beautiful, but it's so hard to model. As you can see, everything is quadrilaterals. Try not to get any triangles, because that would just cause problems later. Because when the when the vertices meet, it can create sharp edges. You don't want that in a smooth mesh. Alright, we're almost ready to extrude again. So as you can see, I think I tried to add an edge here, but then I gave up because as you can see, I tried to join edges because I wanted a nice loop, but then you can see there was triangles, spotted that, so I got rid of that. Okay, extrude. So we're extruding everything in again, and then the top part will be the upper lip and the bottom part will be the lower lip. Again, this is quite, so you can see, you saw just now when I turned off subdivision modify, everything was super jagged. Realized that a bit late, but I was trying to salvage it by point pulling. So as you can see, at the edges of her mouth, I tried pulling the points, and I was like, they're nice and smooth. Why is there still like weird creases? And that's because hopefully I will realize that soon. That when you turn off subdivision modifier, everything looks wacky. I need to fix it on the base level before you turn on the modifier. Still trying to fix it. I was like, maybe if I pull it down and make it more spread out. Oh, realize it.
Do it! Just do it!
Also, I added in a lot of edge loops in hopes that it will solve the issue, but it just made it worse. So, when in doubt,
do it!
go to the turn off all modifiers.
Do it! Just do it!
Oh, a great thing, I tried to fix it this way. So if you go into sculpting, you can actually, there's a smooth brush where if you're too lazy to point pull, you just use the brush and smooth things out. It's kind of a cheat. It's really useful for things where you have a flat surface, you just want to smooth things out. But the base really should be created without, I mean, there's sculpting videos on YouTube and they're amazing, but I prefer to just have a proper base mesh and then work your way up from there. Trying to delete edges and delete vertices in hopes that it would help. Man, it took me a while to realize this.
Disappointed!
I think I was just trying to make this video as fast as possible and I was just spaced out when I panicked. See, I tried to smooth it with the sculpting brush. Okay, finally. I looked at the base mesh, you can see it's super ugly and jagged, so apologies for the next few seconds of me just point pulling and trying to make it smoother looking. So you can see now that when I smoothed it out and I turned on the subdivision modifier, it looks a lot better. Still not the best. Still some things to fix. Like her mouth is still pushed out like a lot. And I spent quite a lot of time trying to fix this. Because I think for my previous blender model, her mouth was really easy. It was just, there was not even a lip. It was more like just curve in, curve in. There wasn't even an extrusion. So this is my first time handling an actual lip. And I picked like the hardest lip to do. But I think as long as, you know, you're determined, you'll eventually get there after hours of point pulling. And it really helps to learn some keyboard shortcuts. You can find them on, you know, Blender manual, or you can just Google it. Most of the time the answer is on YouTube, or just Blender Stack Exchange, Reddit, and all those places work. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Trying to fill in the lip a little bit more. A little bit more normal looking. So here I basically selected the faces around the edges of the nose and extruded them inwards and then pulled them out a little bit to get that little nice ridge of the nose, just to make it a little bit more realistic. Now I see that there's a really sharp pull on the nostrils now after I did that, and I think I spent ages trying to fix this, just trying different things. Usually when you have a sharp edge is because if you have a really sharp bend, you need a few more extrusions in the middle, a bit more edge loops to make it smooth. I think I just failed to do that. It takes me a while to realize. Nope. Still a little bit bad. Oh, it's looking a little better. Started to finally add in some more edge loops in the inside, and then pulling them down a bit to make the sharp edge a bit more smoothed out. And then I realized near the edges of the face around the nose here, it was quite creased. So again, you can fix that with the sculpting brush, or you can just do a lot of point pulling. And I tend to fixate really hard on something because I really want it to be perfect, so it takes a little bit longer than normal. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the face, and you can see me trying to move the image up and down, scaling it in and out to try to match it because the side profile doesn't match the front profile. And sometimes if you don't have images that match, you just kind of have to wing it. And yeah, there's really not much else I can say besides winging it. Because once you have, you know, all the facial features in place, you can always just grab, you know, large chunks of the face and then reshape it to whatever you like. So I think it's really not too big of an issue. So right now I'm just trying to fill in, you know, trying to match together the eyes and the rest of the face to make like a more smooth mask, because later then we can create the head by just extruding it backwards. Alright, so now I'm working on the side of the face, so from around here and outwards, and then I will join it with the bottom and also the eyes, and that will make like hopefully a smoothish mask. I think I joined them a bit too early, and I decided because the side of the face is one kind of plane and then the bottom is a different plane. So if you join them, you kind of have to work with a curved plane, and that's really difficult. So you should model the one like smooth plane out and then the bottom plane, and then maybe the top plane, and then join them at the very end. And as you can see, right under the eye, there's a bit of a weird curvature just around the eye. And I think, again, you can use sculpting tool to fix those small curves, and if sculpting tool doesn't work, turn off subdivision modifier and work on the base mesh. Okay, it's starting to finally come together. This is about, I don't know, maybe the 2 hour, almost 3 hour mark. It took me a while. I really wanted to make this like a really perfect first face video. So if you look in the wireframe, I'm trying to get, you know, this kind of dip. She's got really high cheekbones, so I think the vertex and edge coming out from her mouth I was trying to mix that to match with her jawline. Not jawline, sorry, the cheekbone. And then I think you can either point tool or use sculpting tool to pretty much smooth out the bottom. And you can also create a bump on the top to make that contrast of the cheekbone. And I think I do that in a little bit. So now you can see it looks kind of like a flat face. So trying to use the sculpting tool to make it look more human. And as you can see around the eyes is this really weird bulge, and I was trying to fix that with the sculpt tool and it didn't work, so of course the problem was in the base mesh. Kind of coming together. Yeah, as you can see the mouth is still a bit protruded. So as you can see I'm starting to smooth out the bottom here and creating bumps out there with the sculpting brush, and you can see it kind of looks like it's developing a kind of cheekbone. And again, the whole image was a little bit, her face is a little bit asymmetric in this case, so there was a bit of space on her, well, your right side. Here's just me smoothing out a little bit more. So in terms of asymmetry, just kind of stick to one side of the face, and that's usually fine. Okay, it's looking a little smoother. Another great tool for smoothing is just highlight the vertices you want to smooth, and then click right click, and then just click smooth vertices. It makes it, if you have it so well, it works so well if you have like a plane and a bunch of points that are a little bit in and out, then just click that and then Blender would just kind of smooth it out. It just takes the average. It's great. So you can see now I'm trying to just get a more profound jawline, cheekbone. I think at this point, if you're getting bored, you can probably start looking away. There's not much more I do besides point pulling and just kind of prepping this for the next video. So now I'm just trying to make her mouth a little bit less ducky and more humany. And as you can see, the side of the mouths are a bit more rounded, so I'm trying to like pull them down without making it look like her mouth is coming out of her face. Just kind of blending it in. Alright, and there we go. So there you have it. This is the first video. Hopefully that wasn't too boring. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks.